Welcome to another episode of VGN Weekly. Members of the Virtual Grip crew will recap the previous week's races and bring us one-on-one interviews with racers, league owners, and commentators, as well as others from within the sim racing community. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. If you are a league owner or potential sponsor and have a broadcasting need, please visit virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. Thanks for tuning in today. Now let's go find some grip.
As the Virtual Grip Network gears up for another action-packed week of racing, let's take a quick look back at last week's race winners. Scott Negus in Yesteryear Racing's Tour Modified Series. Chad Alcars in the Red Light Racing's SK Modified Series. Chris Davis in the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw SK Modified Series. Chris Hazlip in the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Series. Dwayne MacArthur in the OBRL's Cup Series. And James Lehman in the Maximum Velocity Racing League's ARCA Series. Now we'll take a quick break before turning things over to John Hine, who's standing by with this week's special guest, Mike Holloway from the BRL.
Welcome back to VGN Weekly. I am your host, John Hine, and usually right about now, I bring our guests in, tell you all about who they are and what they've accomplished and all that kind of stuff in their respective goal or in their respective league. But first, before we get started, this is our 1-year anniversary. We've done this show for the past year, and I can't tell you what a neat ride it's been. I have enjoyed getting to talk to so many different people from so many different leagues, and I do think that we do owe a debt of gratitude to everybody that's taken time to come on this show and talk to me. And you guys make the show, so I want to put the thanks there first. The show can't happen though. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. Lowell, kind of produces everything and kind of Lowell's more the guy that keeps the trains running. He books the guests and things like that. So got to thank him for his behind the scenes work. Ryan Seneker, who everybody knows, kind of the heartbeat of VGN. He puts this thing together. It's not a simple, hey, we turn the cameras on, we turn the cameras off, and he puts it to YouTube. The pictures and stuff like that you see with the different guests and stuff like that. Ryan's got to put those into the show and things like that. So it is a team effort behind the scenes, and it's been a pleasure working with everybody behind the scenes to get this thing on the air on a weekly basis. But like I said, the folks that have come on the show, you're the stars of the show. You guys make the show. I thank you guys. I thank everybody for watching. So with that said, I do want to talk about this week's guest. It's going to be his second time on the show here. It's going to be Mike Holloway from the BRL. His first BRL race was all the way back in 2013. To say he's a veteran, that would definitely fit that mold there. His first race was a Legends car all the way back at New Smyrna, I believe. Since then, he has gone on to start 941 races. He's got 36 wins, 342 top fives, 690 top tens. Championships, yep, he's got them. He's got 3 of them. He's got a Super Late Model Championship, a Pro Truck Series Championship. He has also got a Road Series Championship. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's kind of unexpected, but I'm glad to be here.
I know, after all those accomplishments, I feel like I need to take a drink of water or something there to get all that stuff out there. But I think back to the old Rocky episodes, where you got all the, Apollo Creed's got all those nicknames they got to get through. And it's kind of what that was just like. But, you're also a member of the Thunder Ridge Racing team with Lowell and Matt Hoos. So you got kind of a long history with BRL. And, the one thing that I kind of want to start the show off with is talking about that Road Series Championship, because we have a new venture in the BRL that may one day make it to the VGN airwaves. We got a new Road Series, a Skidder Creek. It's not even a BRL. It's an actual Skidder Creek Drivers Championship, and it's something kind of separate from BRL, but you being a road racing expert, since you got a championship, what are your initial thoughts on everything you've seen going on with that series?
First of all, let's clarify, there's no expert with me in road racing, but I do enjoy it though. But yeah, this is a new venture that Lowell and actually Ed Foster came up with. Lowell'd been running a GT3 series for a little while, and it just really didn't take off. So Ed Foster, I guess, stepped in and said, hey, why don't we try something a little different? And they came up with this. We're going to be running the Toyota GR86 cars on various road courses. And we've run three or four test races so far. Had a blast. Had a lot of people showing up, having a good time. So I can't wait to see where this thing goes. I think the season actually starts this Friday.
Yeah, that's an exciting new adventure here that's going to be happening. The GR86. For those that might have an interest in road racing, because a lot of folks that watch this are oval racing. Whether it be a NASCAR series or it could be short track series or even dirt for that matter. Tell us about the GR86 and why that is such a fun car to race.
It really is a fun car. I really like it myself because, again, I'm not a road racing expert, but I do enjoy it. It's a very user-friendly car. It's not real high on power, but it's not slow either. So I think anybody who has even a remote interest in getting into road racing or learning road racing, this would be a really good car to start with. It's very comparable if anybody's driven the Mazda MX-5. They're fairly close together. So I think people gravitate to this a little more over the GT3 cars because it's very user friendly.
Well, it has a roof compared to the MX-5 cars.
Yeah, well, fair enough on that one too.
Well, someone who's in VR, having that roof over your head, it's, I don't know. I've run topless races before, but never in here, and not having that roof is something else. But the format too is something that's going to be very unique. Can you talk a little bit about the kind of format on a given race night?
Yeah, so it's essentially double races. So we use a little bit of the format from BRL where we invert the last field from last week for the first race this week, and then we run the first race, have a little break, 5-minute intermission, whatever it is, warm up, and then we run another race out on that same event, and we invert the finishing order from that previous race. None of this probably made sense to anybody, but I'm explaining it the best I can.
It made perfect sense to me. So it's really cool. I mean, you line them up and you just go race. No qualifying or anything like that.
Right.
Where you're based on. So the one thing is that I like about that format is okay. Hey, I won last week. Well, guess what? I'm not going to have simple path to win another race. I'm going to have to earn it. I got to go tail
Right.
end of the field and you know use some skill to get back up there. So that I don't want to say it prevents one guy from dominating, but it definitely makes the path to dominating a lot harder.
It really does. They have to work for it. Now, there's varying skill levels here because this is really for anybody, new guys, newbies, and experienced guys. So your fast guys, they're always going to be fast. They just got to work for it now.
Yeah, and working your way through the field, it can be challenging. I mean, like you said, the different levels of experience, different levels of speed. I mean, I'll use myself as an example. I am not a road racer, so I tend to brake really early for corners on the track. That's for you fast guys are going to have to know, hey, if I'm behind him, I got to make sure that I'm not, getting myself in an accident,
Yeah,
damaging my car
absolutely.
because I stopped 100 yards too soon. So,
Yeah, and I can say that's the good thing. The test races that we've had, because we got a lot of new names, people I don't really know. They're
mhm.
new because of this series. The test races I've run with them so far, everybody was really fantastic. We didn't have a lot of issues with people getting run over and stuff. So it seems like this is really going to be something fun to do.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. And what are your expectations here? You've run a few of those practice races. You got that championship under the belt. I mean, are you gonna make a run for that championship?
I mean, I'm going to try to make every race I can. I mean, if we're keeping it real here, championship doesn't seem realistic. In the test sessions, I was about a mid-packer. We were getting about 20 cars. I was about a mid-packer.
Wow,
So I can outrun some guys, but some of them guys we were testing with were just,
lights out.
yeah, really good. But they were up front. There was few of them, so they're battling each other. It's not like the races were boring. It's just
Yeah.
I couldn't
Well,
really
and
keep up with them.
that's the neat thing about this series. I've talked to enough folks that have done it. And you're racing. It doesn't matter if you're up there running for the lead, if you're running the mid pack, or even in the back of the pack. You've got guys that have, with that many drivers showing up, you've got somebody that you're probably going to be racing against all the time, which makes things fun.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure. I mean, for an example, I think Lowell and I are probably, it seems like we're about the same skill level when it comes to road racing. So in the test races, it seems like he and I always gravitated each other and we were always duking it out for that 8th, 9th, 10th spot.
yeah, I've spoke to him, and that was one of the things he pointed out to me. Actually, is the racing through the field has been fantastic on it. So, and Um, that's always a sign of a good, healthy league. That means guys are having fun. When guys have fun, they come back and, or they tell their friends and their friends come and join too. So,
Sure, yeah.
um, you know, but it is, we need to stress it is different from the BRL. It's, the Skitter Creek Drivers Club. And I should plug the website here. It's scdriversclub.com. So, anybody that's interested in that, go out to that website. If you go out to BRL, you're not going to find, you got to go to scdriversclub.com to get signed up for that. It sounds like it's a really good deal. Sounds like you're having a lot of fun. The GR86. Well, let me, before I move on, what kind of tracks, what does the tracks look like?
So we ran the test races at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. Now, this is where it gets a little hazy for me. I'm not sure what their plan is coming up, but I think it's going to be similar tracks to that. I don't think we're going to do like rovals and stuff like that. We're going to do true, honest road courses.
So we're not going to see the Nürburgring on it.
I hope not, or I'm going to have the flu that day. So
Yeah, we just did the 24-hour race there, and I think there's a lot of guys that did it and probably have had enough of that thing.
I've never put 2 consecutive laps together before. I think I've only completed 1 full lap around it once.
Yeah, that sums up my 24 hours in a nutshell. So,
24 hours, 24 seconds. What's it matter, right? I mean,
yeah, more time towing than driving. So, um, well, it sounds like a really cool deal, and I guess going to the same track has an advantage too, especially for people that are newer. You can start to hone your racecraft a little bit. You get familiar with the track. You can test limits a little bit, and yeah, like I said, that's a really cool deal you guys got going.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'm not on the inner workings of this, but I kind of took it as that was kind of their idea of why we ran the same track VIR and testing is to help people get familiarization with who may be new to road racing. So it's kind of a neat gig, and I kind of like their approach there.
Yeah, I would too, and I would like to do. Hopefully, I can get on the track with you guys, but what real quick, tell everybody what night and what time that this whole thing fires off.
We will be racing on Friday nights. I believe for me it's 7 o'clock. I'm in Central Time Zone,
So the
so
world ticks to the Central Time Zone.
yeah. As I tell all my East Coast friends, I live in the normal time zone.
Exactly.
So, I think
100%.
I believe we start at 7 my time.
And it's
You
Central.
kind
That's all you have to say. Let
you
them figure it out. It's
math from there.
like I said, the world ticks to the Central Time Zone, so we're going to stick to that. Everybody else got to figure out where they fall in that.
Right.
All right. Well, I like to move on because you've got a long history over in the BRL. You're kind of one of those cornerstone members of BRL. Have seen a whole lot, done a whole lot. Through all the years, you've got all those championships, and this past season you ran the late models. I don't see on the modifieds as much, but you ran the late models. You got one race to go. You're sitting third in the standings. How would you sum up your season so far?
It's been very up and down, but I'm quite surprised I'm in third. I really, if you had just asked me without, I did look it up last night, but without telling me that, I like there's no way I'm in third because there seems like there's been a lot more downs than ups, but it seems to be turning around here last few races. It's getting better. I think championship's out of the question. I think James Lowe's pretty much got that locked up, but I think second place would be a nice little goal to set at this point. I mean, we only got one race left. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that race, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. That's going to be at New Smyrna. So you said more downs than ups, and as a longtime competitor, that, hey, some seasons, man, everything just falls into place. Others, more of a challenge. You said you have more downs. Is there anything particular you can attribute it to? Is it just maybe the time of year, not getting enough practice?
No, I really think I think you just hit the nail on the head that it comes and goes. Sometimes it's not really one particular thing. It's like baseball. Sometimes a team's lightning lights out, and then they'll go 2 or 3 weeks, and they can't get out of their own way. So I mean, that's really all it boils down to. I don't think it's really any one particular thing. This has changed, or that person, this person, whatever. I think it just kind of comes and goes, and that's really all it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally too. I've kind of gone through this. I think anybody that's raced has gone through that kind of stuff. And the thing that's really hard is, you got to tell yourself, I didn't forget to drive, and you don't want to start
Yeah,
tinkering. It's kind of like, hey, I'm out golfing, and the first 6 holes went to crap. You don't change your golf swing on the seventh tee.
yeah. Well, I do. So
Well, I do too, but where I'm going with that is, I didn't know if you were maybe trying, different things, experimenting with different lines. I know that it's a fixed setup, but you can do different steering ratios and stuff like that. So I didn't know if you were getting in the weeds that way.
not really. I mean, I will give you credit when it comes to that, especially this and racing and stuff. I'm not a big fan of changing what got you to the party, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I do obviously like during the course of a race, I will experiment with lines whenever something's not
Yeah.
working for me. But I don't really make big drastic changes that it just it's going to get you so far out in the weeds that you might not be able to get back. So just stick with what you got you here, and like I say, yeah, ebbs and flows. It'll come back around to you.
Well, I've got to ask this question because I think you're one of the guys that always seems to have the best paint job. One of the best paint jobs. You know, sometimes they're throwback and it's like really cool. And I find myself instead of racing you checking your car out. That literally has happened, by the way. And you know, do you get superstitious about anything like that? Like, oh God, I just put this paint on and I've wrecked now 2 weeks. That paint's out of here. I mean, do you do anything like that?
No, not really. I'm not particularly a superstitious person. I do joke about it, but I don't particularly believe in superstition and like that. No, for me, really, um, it really just depends on. I change paint schemes like the wind, you know, because
You do.
I enjoy painting. I enjoy creating this and seeing what the result is and stuff. So, um, that's really all it boils down to. There's not really a lot more to it than that. I don't. Oh, I had a bad run in this paint scheme. It's out of here. It really boils down to, oh, I just did this one. It looks pretty good. We're going to run that this week.
Yeah, well, the reason why I ask is because you hit the nail on the head. You do change your paints a lot, which is actually a great, I don't know, technique. Is like I said, I've been on the track with you, and all of a sudden, like, hey, that's new, that's pretty cool, and I find myself looking at it. So, well, that's a really good technique to keep the guys distracted.
Yeah, I think I'm getting ready to break my record for this season. This scheme I just ran this past weekend, I really liked it. So I think at New Smyrna, this might be the first time this season I've showed up 2 weeks in a row with the same paint scheme.
What has been your favorite? Do you have a favorite, like throwback, like driver? I mean, just anything.
No, not really. I mean, again, that just like the racing, that comes and goes. I will paint something, and when I'm done with it, I'll sit there and stare at it and go, "This is the best paint scheme I've ever done. We're going to run this forever." And then 3 days later, I'm working on another one, and I get it done. I go, "This is the best paint scheme I've ever done. We're going to run this forever." And the last one that was the best I ever done doesn't even see the track.
Start calling you Goldilocks.
Fair enough.
Let's just hope Soup doesn't watch this one, or you will get tagged with that moniker for a while. Um, you've got 3 championships. We touched base on the road one, but you've got a couple of other ones. Was there a favorite championship that you had that you were at the end of that? You were just like, yeah, I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, the truck championship was fun. I beat Donnie by 1 point on that one, and it
Oh,
literally came down to the last turn, the last lap at New Smyrna of the last race. So that was
how
pretty
cool.
fun. But I do kind of hold the super late model championship a little higher because in that one I beat J.R. Shepard and James Lowe heads up. It's not like they missed races or something. I beat them heads up for the championship. So, that's 2 of the best in BRL.
Yeah.
And so I beat them heads up. I kind of hold that as a little bit more of a little bit of pride on that one.
Yeah, anytime you can say you held J.R. Shepard off for a championship, that's an accomplishment. It doesn't matter where that particular series falls on the rung of
Sure,
the
yeah.
night. Um, through all the years, 2013, you started in Legends car. Now we're running the pro late models and the SKs, and I know the SKs have kind of been the cornerstone for a long time. I think there's more seasons in the SKs, but have you had a favorite BRL series? A car that was like, yeah, this one's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably the late models that we run now. I love this car. I love the series. I get frustrated a lot because I'm not
Tires.
as good as I want to be in my mind. Actually, tires is a good point. I'm actually pretty decent at saving tires, so I don't get upset about that. But I think the late models, I really did enjoy what was then called the ARCA car. when we ran that. I used to, in the early days, first several years, I liked the SK a lot, but me and that car just don't speak the same language anymore, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I do run it every now and then, just when you kind of sit around going, oh, I'm bored, I ought to go run the race, but I'm not a big fan of it anymore. So, long answer to your short question is probably the late model is probably my favorite.
Do you like the cars that have a power, where the driver, the right foot matters, or do you like the kind of momentum car where you've got to hit your marks and keep the momentum through the center of the corner, that kind of thing?
So I would probably take power over momentum because you can make passes better and stuff. But I do now the late model car is pretty much a momentum car, but it's just fun to drive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I would prefer to have power because I like being able to make passes and not have to sneak up on somebody and get, hold your mouth just right and get in a super special run off the corner just to get up beside them or something.
Yeah, use a lot of tire equity to try to get a pass. So,
Right.
does your driving style? I mean, would you say that lends more to the on, the off, the throttle, and that kind of stuff? Do you think that's what gravitates you to that?
Yeah, maybe. There's no really way to say this without it sounding arrogant or something. My driving style is more of I lean towards the technical. I like technical tracks that you don't just go out there and hold it wide open and have to, make laps. I like that braking and throttle and
Where you have to drive the car.
yeah, I seem to do better at those type of tracks where you have to actually drive it than I do at tracks where it's just kind of a super speedway, hold it wide open type thing.
You know, we talked about, a lot of different cars and whatnot with BRL, but, it's on the iRacing platform. So there's been a lot of change since 2013. I don't know when you first signed up to iRacing. That's about the time I came in, and I know there's been a lot of change there. Um, do you have a particular thing that you've seen iRacing do that you were just like, holy cow, I can't believe this?
In a good way or a bad way?
Either. How about both? Take both. Which one was it like, God, why'd they do that? And how about the one like, holy crap, this is awesome?
I think the holy crap, this is awesome side of it would probably be, just off the top of my head without really analyzing it, probably dirt. I think dirt was quite an accomplishment when you look at what they did there and the technical aspects they built into it. I think that was probably one of those mind-blowing, I'm just like, wow, this is incredible moments. The why did they do that moment? I don't know. I have to get back to you on that one.
Well,
you'll get me off on a rant that probably not appropriate for this show. So,
oh man, now I want to know. So you mentioned the dirt. So does that mean we're going to see you run some dirt races on Friday?
Absolutely not.
You disappoint me.
I said dirt was an accomplishment, and they should be proud of what they created there. I didn't say I was going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the rain thing too is really remarkable, and I guess this build that's coming up, they're gonna have the dry line form better and be able to see. So, even though I'm not good at driving in the rain, but I can't wait to see what that looks like because to me that's remarkable too.
Rain was incredible too. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot that one. That one's pretty good too. And if anybody watching, if you've ever experienced the rain, it really looks amazing. I was in a race at Watkins Glen with Matt Hoos and Ryan Seneker, and I was in the car and it started raining.
Oh, that was last season's at the Glen, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
yes, I remember.
We're all just kind of like, I don't know what to do here. It looks incredible, and then it changes strategy. So you're right. That was a good accomplishment too.
Yeah, and I don't know which split you were in that, but ours, it didn't just rain, but it was a deluge out of nowhere, and it was like, whoa! I felt that car hydroplaning everywhere.
Yeah. It was. So I did not practice for rain, and I'd never driven in the rain. I hadn't even seen it yet,
Oh
and all of a
wow.
sudden it just starts raining, and I'm like, "Wow, this is kind of incredible." But we have a whole different race car now too.
Well, now a whole different race car and a whole different way to have to drive it and all that. And
Sure.
you talk about the visual aspects, even the sound, because if you haven't experienced it, the sound with the rain hitting the roof and things like that, that was it's almost like dirt when you got the clods coming through the car. You can hear the dirt flying through the car. So that
Right. Yeah.
sound aspect. And I think Sean Ambrose, an old fan of the show or old friend of the show, I think he has a little bit to do with it. I know he does a lot of the recording and all that for the sound for them, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, the sounds are just unbelievable, how they've done that, and um, yeah, the rain. I was, yeah, that's kind of wild though. The first time you never practiced it or anything. So do you practice like if you guys are going to do a road race now? Do you practice in the rain?
um, yeah, sometimes I have. I don't put a lot into it though because you know I really focus more on learning the track, braking zones, stuff like that. As far as the rain goes, it's going to be what it's going to be. If we're in the race and the rain comes, it's going to be what it's going to be. So I don't. You can't really plan for it. So I try to practice to the things that I know what they're going to be: braking zones, acceleration zones, apex, all that stuff. So no, I don't. For the most part, I don't practice for the rain. We just let it happen. If it happens, then we deal with it at that time.
Have you raced with the AI? You're talking about things too that iRacing's done. Have you done any racing with their AI?
I have a little, um, nothing really serious, just kind of goofing around. So they're really getting good at that. We do run, Matt Hoos and I, or not I, Matt Hoos runs his. It's more of a just kind of a fun get together on Wednesday nights, and we run the ARCA car with AI in that, and it's pretty incredible that they still got a little work to do on that, but I mean it's pretty impressive what they've done there too.
Yeah, it is, and I've come to find that's the best way to actually practice if you're going to a road course and all that. Get other cars on the track. I don't even go on the open servers anymore and practice. I use the AI when I go to a road course.
Yeah, so I found in that I tried that. I thought that'd be a good idea, and I tried that. So I started practicing. I don't know if it's just me. I don't have the patience to adjust all these AI little minutia and stuff because when I put the AI in, we went to, I think it was Birmingham or whatever, and it didn't matter how much I adjusted it. I'm stomping these guys. So I even start in the back, and within a lap and a half, I'm way out front. So I'm like, this isn't really helping me too much, and I don't have the patience or maybe even the knowledge to adjust them just that fine little bit to make them more even with me.
Yeah, where I've used it is, like for the 24 hours of Daytona, we usually run the GTP car because that's one that you don't have to look out the back. You can concentrate out the front the most. But the AI, I've slowed them down so it simulates coming up on GT3 cars. So that's where through the course of a race, I've always found that that's the most difficult thing is being patient through the infield section there. But I've done that on a few other tracks, and that's actually how I've used the AI. But you're right. I thought they were supposed to get that adaptive part in where it's like adapting to your abilities on the track.
If I'm not mistaken, and I very well could be because I don't read a lot of those release notes they come out
Yeah,
with. I'm just not interested in that stuff. So
I glance at them. That's about it.
if the headline for it can catch my attention, I might look into it, but otherwise, I just go straight to delete. But if I'm not mistaken, I think the adaptive AI is going to be rolled in. I don't think it's going to be one big mass release. I think they've got
Oh,
some out there already. I don't know in what or whatever, but I think it's going to be phased in.
gotcha. Well, iRacing, that's what kind of binds us all here and stuff like that. I know, BRL has had a lot of different classes, a lot of different series that through those years. But outside of BRL, the cool thing about iRacing for those that don't have it, it offers you the opportunity to get in about any discipline that you want, whether it be rallycross or IndyCar, a NASCAR, a dirt, I could go on and on and on. Literally almost about any form that you like. Is there something outside that you like with like you get in one of those cars that maybe BRL has never had? Is there a car out there, track out there that you just really like?
Yeah, possibly. I I just like to go racing. So I don't
Mhm.
throughout the whole service, I don't particularly have a favorite car.
Okay.
It's what mood I'm in at that moment. I'll I will sit here sometimes and go, you know what? I'm on an ARCA kick. Let's go run some. I'll spend like a
Yeah.
couple of weeks just running ARCA like crazy, and then that's gone. And I'm like, then the next kick will be like, well, I'm on the trucks now. I want to, and I'll run trucks like crazy for a week, month, 2 months, and then it just goes away. So I don't. It really just depends on me what mood I'm in at this moment.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. Hey, I'm gonna jump into, the old Lotus just to see how bad I am in that, to be quite frank with you. That's one of those where I'm putting two consecutive laps. Doesn't matter the track, it's just
Yeah,
yet to
yeah,
happen. Um, but yeah, it's really, really cool that you can do that. And that's, iRacing. A lot of people I talk to actually give an answer pretty similar to yours. It's kind of like, hey, I'm gonna hop in here and give this a run here briefly and move
right.
on.
I just don't really. Now I do have a championship in the official series.
Do you?
Yeah, from 10 years ago,
What
but
was it?
it was in the truck series on the fixed setup. So I did win a championship. I was really, really proud of that, but I also decided right then that I'll never do it again. I'll never run for a championship on the official side again because it really took so much out of me that I don't want to put this effort into it again. Because when you get down to like the last 2 weeks, you're running against thousands of different people.
Yeah.
And you come so hyper focused on those points, and they only count. You can have up to 4 starts per week before it starts averaging your points. So you spend a lot of time relegating those. Okay, I made my start this week, and then I found myself just watching the points constantly. Oh, I need to make one more start to try to get a better finish. It wears you thin. So I'll never do that again.
Yeah, and the other thing too, unlike, if you run in a league, everybody kind of knows the situation with the points and like, okay, he's running for a championship. Let's, cut you a break here and there. Those open servers,
They don't care.
nope, nope, nope. And if they did, if they knew, they still wouldn't care.
And to be fair though, I will be fair about this. That's fair enough too. They probably
Sure.
shouldn't care because especially in the open server situation, I'm here for my enjoyment.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, help you win your championship or whatever. I get into every race because I want to win this race, and that's what I'm here for. So I'm not here to help you.
Yeah, and but that even should carry over into a league setting, to be honest with you. Hey, I'm here to do my thing and whatever. But the difference, I think, is, or should probably be the difference is, okay, if I'm behind you and I know you're running for a championship, I am going to probably be a little extra careful not to put you in a bad spot.
Yeah,
And
perhaps.
because you don't want to be that guy that costs a guy a championship. I mean, at least that's my thinking. I'm still going to race you hard, and I'm not going to just get out of your way so you can have those points. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stick my nose on a high risk, make a high risk pass.
Yeah, I kind of get that, but I'm also the type of person.
Which there's no wrong way here. I should put that in there.
Yeah,
There's not a wrong way at that.
for sure. I just kind of approach it from an angle of I race clean anyways.
Yeah.
I've lost. You can't even count how many lost races because I chose to race someone clean rather than, letting it wash up and take them out or something. So when we get in those championship situations I'm not involved in, and people, well, this championship race, everybody be careful. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'm going to race the
That's just for
way
you.
the way I race
Yeah.
every week because it hasn't caused problems up to this point. Why are y'all worried about me and running against championship contenders now? So I'm just going to go out there and race, and it's
Yeah.
going to be what's going to be.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it comes down to I just try to race guys the way that I want to be raced, and if they race me a certain
Absolutely.
way, I'm going to race them a certain way, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, if I know I've got something on the line there, I wouldn't mind. I don't expect anybody to pull over and get out of my way, but also don't expect somebody to dive bomb me. That could a low risk or low percentage. Attempt.
I know exactly what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. You're getting me off in the weeds here, John.
Well, I mean, that's what we do. We talk about Ira. I mean, these are cool insights.
I joke all the time about how I keep a mental list of people I owe favors to.
Yep.
And over the years, my list has gotten so long that I've never really paid back the favors that I forgot who all's on it now.
Wow, you're a better man than I am.
We've doled out receipts before. I promise you we have, but
Yeah.
I try not to make a habit of it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as I'm in a race, you're always fired up. Somebody gets into you, wrecks you or something, and you're just super mad. Go home, sleep it off a little bit, and wake up next morning in a better mood. And there's no need to go running over people just because of one little incident. But there are habitual offenders of this that you kind of start going, all right, now you're on the list and you're steadily making your way to the top of the list. You're going to get raced different from here forward than we have in the past.
Yes, definitely. I call it if somebody, breaks your give a damn. So,
my list actually has a name that I shouldn't say here. So.
Well, we won't go there. How about we get out of the weeds and go back? And you've like I've
Please.
touched on it so many times about BRL and how long you've been there. Who has been your toughest competitor through the years? Not necessarily the best, because I guess we could debate, but I mean, I think universally most people are going to say the best, the GOAT, is JR. But that doesn't necessarily mean the toughest, because I would never. JR's, if I see him on the track, he's usually the guy to beat. But I don't know that I would make JR the toughest competitor on the track.
Yeah, I understand totally what you're saying there, because I don't see me and JR as competitors because I can't compete with JR.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
I mean, so no, I know exactly what you're saying. But as far as my personal toughest competitor, it's hard to say because there's been so many people come over the years. So if I had to name some names off the top of my head, that seems like we always seem to find each other on the track and had good results. It's
Yeah,
not.
oh yeah, your toughest competitor is the compliment, saying, "Hey, I gotta work and we can race." I mean, that's a compliment.
Yeah, sure. So names come to mind. Donnie Moore was a good one.
Yeah.
He and I seem to gravitate towards each other a lot on the track. I don't know what it is or how it's come to be, but it seems like for years now, if you see Kurt Smith on the track, look for me because I'm probably somewhere right along there somewhere at some point in the race. He and I always find each other. So Kurt, Lowell, and I think, are on about the same skill level when it comes to short track racing. So those are just, for a question I wasn't expecting, those are just some names that come right off the top of my head.
Well, and that really makes sense, because usually when you're in a league and whatnot, or even in a real race, talent, and I don't mean this in a snarky way, but talent finds talent. Wherever your pace and your skill level, you tend to end up around those guys. So if you're a fifth place guy, somebody else is about a fifth place guy, guess what? You're racing against each other for that fifth place. Or if you're the first place guy,
that's just how it works by design, right? I mean,
yes, 100%. And yeah, the toughest competitor, like I said, not trying to throw anybody under the bus or saying anything bad, but it is. It's a compliment that, hey, I just know I'm going to have to fight this guy tooth and nail.
Sure.
The Donnie is, we miss Donnie. He's not there, not running with us anymore. But yeah, Donnie was always. He is one of the toughest passes, I think, through all the
That
years.
dude has. I always wanted him to report to the technical shed after the race because I swear he's got the widest car on the racetrack.
Yes. Yeah, and he would do it in a manner that would frustrate. And this is all complimentary. I mean, because there's a talent of cutting guys off and doing other things. Donnie just, I don't know. It's like he had a button on his dashboard, and that car went from like this wide to boom, just like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
And he didn't change. And the crazy thing is, he didn't change his lanes. It was just,
Yeah. But again, I mean, it's one of the things that made him good, though. So
oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's pretty cool. Through the years, then, it, we the different championships that you talked about, the one where you had to beat JR and James Lowe. Do you remember that season? Because I mean, that had to be pretty nerve-wracking, and that, I got to assume, that was also when that came down to late in the season before that was settled, right?
yeah, so I don't remember what year it was. I'm getting old. I don't remember these things too much. But
It's 2018. That was like 7 years ago, man. A lot has happened in 7 years.
so let me tell you something, dude. 2 years ago was a long time ago for me.
Yes,
So,
yes. Last week sometimes was a long time ago for me.
but yeah, so that it did come down to the final race,
Mhm.
but it wasn't really nerve-wracking to me. I didn't really, because I went into it thinking, I mean, I ain't got a chance in hell of winning this thing anyway, so I'm just going to go out here every week and race and have fun like I do on a normal basis. And then I started kind of winning some races and watching the points. I'm like, I mean, this might be a real thing. So I didn't really pay it much attention as far as points go until like maybe the last race or two because I went into it not expecting much from the get-go.
That's usually the best way to handle things. You don't set that bar.
It
Just
makes
have
it
fun.
a lot easier when you can just
It
go
does.
race the race and you're not worried about this over here. Just go
Just
run
go
the
race.
race and let it be what it's going to be.
Well, when you're not racing, are there other things that you do, enjoyment online, different sims or anything like that? I know some of the guys like to fly, and I know there's a poker, games that go on. Do you do any of that?
Not really. I don't even know how to play poker, so
Or golf?
I don't participate in their poker tournaments. I get invited all the time. Lowell keeps, you know, joking me, you should come play poker. I'm like, I don't even know how to play poker. I'm not going to do that. Well, that means we can take all your money. What?
Mike, that exactly right. It seems like, like the March Madness, it's always the office worker that knows nothing about basketball and is just going and picking, and they win.
Twice in a row for me. I did it twice in a row at work. I don't. I mean, I know a little about basketball, but I don't watch it enough to know who's good, who's not, whatever. They would send us an Excel file and say, with a bracket on it, say, fill this out. And I would go down there and obviously pick all my favorite schools, North Carolina, all that stuff. And then the rest of them, I'd just pick one. Oh, that's kind of a cool name. Let's put them. And I won it 2 years in a row.
Oh man.
So
I don't know if we can be
oh,
friends
I might come
anymore.
and take that poker money from you.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, yeah, I've seen people that actually play like real life poker, and they're like, the people that don't are the hardest because you don't know how to read them. They're just,
Yeah.
and plus they don't know how to bet correctly. So you don't know if they're what's going on with anything.
So if you ever played poker with me, I would be the one sitting there just staring at cards. You're not going to read me because I'm just staring at cards, and you can literally hear the crickets chirping because I don't
Yeah.
know anything about poker.
Yeah, see, I'm in the same boat. I would be like, hey, I got a couple of those. That's probably good. And all of a sudden shove all my chips in the middle. And someone's like, oh my God, he must have a royal flush.
Yeah, I'm the one that said, like you, shoves it all in there and then lays the cards over and goes, is this good?
Exactly. And then everyone's looking at you like you're kidding me, right? Everybody folded. You took all the money and you had a pair of
I don't know. I've never experienced that.
Yeah. But how about do you do, because I know the flying, and do you do any of that other stuff like golf or anything like that?
I do. We used to play golf a lot. That seems to have fizzled out a little bit, but I do some on that. I do have the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I need to fire that up. I haven't done it in a while, but I enjoy that.
Be careful.
It's really relaxing, but outside of those, I don't really do a whole lot of
I'd
anything
be
else.
really careful. I have it. I haven't fired it up because you probably never see me race again. That's what my fear would be, or my wife, or I'd end up divorced because either I'm racing or flying, and my wife's patient enough with the racing.
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I'm not married, so
Oh,
I can sit here and fly all day if I want to.
wow. Do you do any other kind of gaming? Do you like any other kind of games or anything like that?
I do have an Xbox and a PlayStation. Um, I'm still not really a gamer.
I don't consider myself a gamer, but I I'll play Madden. I love playing Madden. So,
Yeah, I have Madden and I play college football. I play MLB The Show, and
I
all
love
the.
MLB The Show.
I did like it. This year's is terrible, and
Is it?
I kind of want my money back. But
Well, all right, I've got to ask, and everybody else can probably fall asleep here real quick. What did you not like about it? Because I love the managerial system that you do in
oh
that.
well, I don't know. I don't play the manager side. I play the player side.
Oh,
They changed the physics on it, and I don't like it. Now I get what they're doing. It is they changed it for what should probably be the better. They didn't change it for people of a skill level like me.
gotcha.
It's just too hard for me now, if we're being honest. So,
Okay.
but I do have the Xbox and the PlayStation, or as I like to call them, Matt Hoos will get this. I have my Call of Duty machines.
Oh yes, 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 yes. I like that. And there's a sniper is a really good World War II sniper that I like.
I've never
So
tried that one. I think that was for a while free on
if you got
Xbox Game Pass.
yeah,
So.
you got it on game. I think it's still on Game Pass. It's actually really, really cool. A lot of the scenery. I mean, it takes you back into Europe. Back there through that era. That's probably one of my more favorite ones.
I may check that one out. I'll go through there and scroll through like Game Pass or on PlayStation side. I forget what the PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I
Just
got the Game
looking
Pass.
for in case something strikes my fancy. And I've never even heard of this game, but it looks kind of cool. We'll download it and spend 3 hours downloading it. Play it 10 minutes and go, this sucks, and delete it.
That's funny. That's how I found Red Dead Redemption. I was like, okay, that looks kind of interesting. Spent half the day downloading it, and it was like, oh, hey, at least I didn't get sucked. It was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. Then I spent
So
all kinds of time doing that one.
my son was big into Red Dead Redemption. So here about this year, within the last few months, they had it on sale for like $20. I'm like, okay, I'll spend $20. Let's find out what this game's about. I downloaded it. It's not terrible. The graphics are incredible. It's not terrible, but it just ain't for me.
Yeah, I like riding around and hunting. That's what I do is go hunting most of the time. So, but all right, computer is off then. So, what do you like to do just for yourself for fun? If you're not online, what do you like doing?
So I spent a lot of time watching Flow Racing and Dirt Vision.
Didn't
Probably,
flow like the best deal like ever?
I can envision a day when Flow is just going to take over the entire racing broadcast community, with maybe
Yeah,
exception of Prime. Prime's been doing really well and impressing me. So
the post race, Prime's post race has been off the charts.
yeah, their post race for the 600 was incredible. I actually not only watched it, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, I did too. So yeah, shout out to Prime, like they're ever gonna watch this and care. But yeah, that really cool. But Flow is just fantastic. Is there a
Yeah,
particular? Do you like watch the Cars tour then? Because if you're being a late model guy, or you just watch everything?
I watch everything, or I poke around a lot. I'll just get on, go, well, let's see what went on last night. And I'll look down the list, go, that sounds pretty cool. Let's go watch it. And sometimes I'll sit there and watch it intently, and sometimes I'll get a few minutes into it and go, this ain't for me. Let's move on. But I do like Cars Tour. The only problem I have with Cars Tour is they don't have enough races, because I think Cars Tour is probably bang for the buck, probably the best racing series in North America.
Yeah, I mean it's I almost said it's admin correctly, but it's teched correctly. It's officiated. That's the word I'm looking for. Officiated correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Their on-track product is absolutely
yeah,
incredible. And also, going back to what we were talking about earlier, late models is probably my favorite car in the world. So, being from North Carolina, I grew up watching late models a lot. So, I've always just put a good late model race on TV for me, and I'm there.
yeah. That's I can relate to that. Except for I'm probably more go towards the dirt stuff, but
Yeah, I watch a lot of dirt. I have dirt vision. I don't miss a single World of Outlaws race. So,
nice. Well, I'm so glad that you came back here and chatting with you again. You know, you're the 1 year anniversary show here, and it's cool to talk about all the different stuff you've done in BRL. So, I do want to thank you for coming on in. But we're going to do a green white checker here. That whole thing. So, it's going to be a good chance to rile up the Thunder Ridge Racing team a little bit. I think so. Let's see what I can do here.
okay.
First question. Who on the Thunder Ridge team is most likely to have a road rage incident?
Me.
You.
Yeah, I think
Why?
so.
Why?
Lowell's too even tempered. He's just a chill guy. And kind of the same for Matt. So I'm the one who, so it doesn't,
They have to talk off the ledge?
no, not really. No,
Oh,
no. I'm the one who, thank goodness no cameras on me while I'm racing, because during races, sometimes the words that come out of my mouth on my private end over here,
yeah.
sailors would probably blush. So I don't know what's going on Matt and Lowell's end of maybe it's the same way. So I'm just going to answer me on that one because I know how I am when I'm in this
Who
driver's seat. So
who do you think would be the most likely go get a speeding ticket, like going through like a one horse town?
that could be Matt or Lowell both. They're both truck drivers. So I, not me. So on that one, I am driving through backwoods Oklahoma here. We have little towns ever. When you get to the towns, shut it down. If it's 35, I'm doing 35 because we're not playing with local law enforcement.
No, I've driven through Oklahoma a lot, and there's a little town. Whenever I went from Fort Smith to Dallas, man, that literally was the worst speed trap I've ever seen there
Yeah,
in
for
Oklahoma.
sure. So I'm going to go Matt and Lowell on your answer there.
On that one. All right, the last one. Who on the team would be the most likely to pick up the tab at dinner? If it's the three of you guys all, somewhere BSing, who's gonna pick the tab up?
Probably. Oh man, we would probably all fight over it. No, I'm going to get it. No, I'm going to get it. But to simplify your answer, I'd say probably Lowell.
I can see that with him. So, well, very cool. We got to know a little bit about your team. Poke a little, and there's, I guess one last one. Who talks the most smack when you guys are in your team channel? Who's the smack talker?
Surprisingly enough, and nobody's going to believe me on this, we really don't talk smack.
Really?
Like as far as towards each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we don't.
No
I
friendly?
mean,
Wow.
when we're in our team channel, I mean, we really do talk about helping each other out and stuff. I don't think we've ever talked smack to each other.
See, we were always like, I'm going to beat you tonight. I mean, that friendly rivalry, competition. I mean, we don't like, hey, dude, what the heck? But it's just fun banter back and
Yeah,
forth.
no, I got you, but no, we don't. We do work well together as a team. Like,
Yeah,
that's
good.
When I'm running in front of Lowell, he might, hey, you're clear, come on down, or whatever. We work well together. We don't really talk that kind of smack stuff, which is fine by me.
No, that's all good. I mean, everybody is a little different on that. Again, no right, wrong kind of thing. So,
Yeah,
well,
sure.
Matt, or Mike, sorry, I called you Matt.
You
I was
did
talking
it.
about Hoos.
You did it in the first time we did this, and you
I
just
know.
did it again.
Well, we were talking about Matt Hoos a second ago, and Hoos is really cool guy, and I've done a lot of things with him too. Matt's actually the one that got me into doing the endurance races. I think the very first endurance race that I ever did was Watkins Glen, the 6 hour, and I had Matt and I had JR as teammates. And that was a lot of fun.
Two totally opposite ends of the road racing spectrum there.
Well, yeah, well then you throw me and a dirt guy that, what's this turning right and left crap?
Right.
So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Those guys had a lot of patience with me. I'm sure of it. So, but, well, Mike, thank you again for coming on in here and spending some time with us once again.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep. And once again, my name is John Hine, and thank you again for watching VGN, especially over the last year and watching us here on the podcast. And we look forward to doing this for the next year once again, and hope you keep tuning in. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Coming up on the Virtual Grip Network. Tonight, June 10th, catch flag-to-flag coverage of yesteryear racing's IROC series, live from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course at 8:30 p.m. The BRL Modifieds and Late Models, from New Smyrna Speedway will air on Saturday, June 14th at 7:45 p.m. The OBRL Yesteryear Cup Series goes live at 8 p.m. from Interlagos on Sunday, June 15th. Maximum Velocity Racing League's ARCA Series will be live from Michigan International Speedway on Monday, June 16th at 9:30 p.m. And catch the next episode of VGN Weekly at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, June 17th. All times Eastern. You can see our full schedule and more at virtualgrip.net.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of VGN Weekly. Join us next time for race recaps, interviews, and much, much more. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. If you are a league owner or potential sponsor and have a broadcasting need, please visit virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network and the Skidder Creek Motorsports Group.